Hello, good morning. Welcome to MaqLinz Tv. Welcome to my blog. Good morning to all our dear subscribers and viewers. Once again, let's talk about science this morning. As I said a while ago, in my last video, we will discuss Newton's three laws of motion. You have the law of inertia, law of acceleration, and the third one is the law of interaction. So before we start or to go in, we will go into details about the law of inertia. We will also first review our understanding about inertia. In high school, we learned that inertia is the resistance of any object in their change in its state of rest or motion. Take note, all objects will resist the change in its state of rest or will always resist the change in its state of motion. Always remember that there are three types of inertia. First one is the inertia of rest. This inertia of rest is the tendency of all objects to be at rest. So take note, if you don't want to move, you always want to be at rest, you have that inertia of rest. Second is the inertia of motion. All objects will continue to move, and the tendency to be in motion always is the so-called inertia of motion. So if you want to move and you don't want to stop moving, you don't want to rest, you have that inertia of motion. Third one is the inertia of direction. All objects will follow the same direction whenever they move. If they continue to follow the same direction, then they have the so-called inertia of direction. If you drive your vehicle and there's a curve, if you want to follow a straight path, then you have that inertia of direction. Okay, so what is Newton's first law of motion? That is what we call law of inertia. This law of inertia states that an object at rest will continue to be at rest, and an object in motion will continue to be moving in a straight line at constant velocity. Okay? So all objects at rest will continue to be at rest. That's the law. They will always resist the change in its state of rest. And all objects in motion will continue to move, no? Will continue to move unless acted upon by an outside force. So take note, force is needed for an object to change in its state of rest, or force is needed to change in its state of motion. Okay? So if force is not present, all objects at rest will continue to be at rest, and all objects in motion will continue to be in motion at constant velocity in the same direction. All right? Now, what's the second law? The second law is the law of acceleration. Take note that acceleration is the change in speed of a moving object. Whenever an object changes speed, whether increasing their speed or decreasing their speed or changing direction, those objects are accelerating. And acceleration is, always remember, directly proportional to the force applied, but inversely proportional to the mass. Meaning to say, in constant mass, at constant mass, if you are going to increase the force, the acceleration of the body will also increase at constant mass. Again, if you're going to decrease the force applied, the acceleration will also decrease. Now, what about if force is constant and if you're going to change the mass? If there is an increase in mass, the acceleration will decrease. And if there's a decrease in mass, the acceleration of the moving body will increase. Take note, the relationship between acceleration and force is directly proportional. Meaning, if force is increased, acceleration will increase. If force is decreased, acceleration will also decrease at constant mass. Now, acceleration is inversely proportional to the mass, unlike to the force. Meaning, at constant force, if mass is increased, acceleration will decrease. If mass is decreased, acceleration will increase. Now, how much is the increase in acceleration? It will just depend on how much is the increase or decrease in force or mass. For example, At constant mass, if you're going to double the force, acceleration will also double. At constant mass, if you're going to decrease the force twice, acceleration will also decrease twice. Now, what about at constant force? At constant force, if you're going to double the mass, the acceleration, of course, will decrease twice. If you're going to decrease the mass at constant force, acceleration is doubled. Okay? So as I said, acceleration is directly proportional to the force, but inversely proportional to the mass. Alright? Now, what is Newton's third law of motion? So, Newton's third law of motion, according to high school physics, is the law of interaction. The law of interaction states that in every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Meaning to say, this law, this interaction law, consists of two forces. One is the action force, and the other one is the reaction force. And take note, based on the expression of the law, that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. There's that word equal. So how much force is exerted in doing the action, that will always be equivalent to the amount of force exerted in doing the reaction. Meaning to say, if the action force is 10 newtons, the reaction force is also 10 newtons. If you exert 20 newtons to a certain object, the object will also exert 20 newtons on you. If you push the wall with a force of 30 newtons, the wall will push at you with 30 newtons also. So for example, another example, I'm sitting on this desk. I am exerting an action force, downward force, force of gravity, while this desk is exerting an upward force. That's what we call the reaction force. If I exerted a force of 50 newtons downward, this desk is also exerting a 50 newton force upward. And take note, it's always equal. No? Because if I am exerting more force than this desk, then I will be falling down. If this desk is exerting more force than me, then I will be moved up. Take note, law of interaction states that for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Another application is walking, running, swimming, etc., etc. When you walk, you push the ground backward with a certain force, while the ground pushes you forward with an equal amount of force. That's why you can move forward. In swimming, you push the water backward with a certain force. The water will also push you forward with an equal amount of force. And that's why you're able to move forward. Okay? And that is why, a piece of advice, if you want to be loved, please love first. If you sow love, you will earn love. If you sow hate, you will earn hate. If you touch the world gently, you will also be touched gently. That is the law of interaction, and that is universal. Once again, I am MaqLinz, and thank you for watching, subscribing, and viewing my vlog. See you next time. Once again, good morning.